Have you ever felt like you're always the one giving while others seem to take without reciprocating? Feeling forgotten, unappreciated, and undervalued is a common experience, especially if you consider yourself an empath. But it does not have to define your relationships or mess with your mental health. So, on today's episode of the Genuine Life podcast, we will chat through 4 ways that I have been doing and ways that can help you navigate these feelings and find a healthier balance in your relationships. You know the drills, friend. Grab a snack and a beverage and let's jump right in. Let's canoodle a little bit, okay? Welcome back to another episode of the Genuine Life podcast, homies. I'm your host, Jennifer Nicole, and I am so glad to have you here with me as usual. Before jumping into today's episode, you know I have to ask, as I always do, how are you doing? Okay? I hope you're doing well and thriving. And most importantly, I hope that life is treating you well. It has been a little while since we've connected. I do have some updates for you that I'm very excited to share with you. So before I jump into the meat of today's episode, we're going to start with some really strong and exciting news. Tap your thighs. Drum roll, please. While you were listening to this episode, and after almost 12 months of being unemployed, I started my new job with Robinhood this morning. Okay? I am so thrilled to be back on a team. Back to recruiting, back to working with students. It's just such an incredible feeling. And if I could be quite honest with you, back to getting a check deposited in my account. Okay? Like, Jesus, it's been a long time. Very excited. And what many of you don't know is I actually accepted an offer and worked with Carnival Cruise Lines for I think it was like 4 weeks, y'all. After like week 2, I was like, this is not my ministry. I am not a salesperson. I between that and the pay, I think it was like a $40, almost $45 pay cut for me. It just, I couldn't do it. So I ended up quitting. And not even a week later, I get this DM on LinkedIn. I didn't apply to this position. I'm not quite sure where this young lady found me, but she did, and I'm so grateful. The entire process took a week from the time she reached out to me to offer. It was the fastest I've ever been hired. And I'm just so grateful. Y'all, I am so, so grateful. And this position is contract with the potential to convert. So we are just going to keep our fingers crossed. I'm going to do my absolute best during this contract because I can already tell just in the few weeks that I've been working with them leading up to my start date. It's just been a fantastic experience, like just a beautiful experience. So, yeah, I wanted to share that with you. I'm just so thrilled to be coming out of this market. And for those of you who are still looking, please, 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 keep going. I had done a podcast episode before where we talked about finding other things that you could be doing to earn money during this time. Tap into those things, which actually leads to my second point. I had been getting a lot of questions regarding like my content creation business, resume and interview prep services, as well as questions regarding like my podcast, how to start one, what tools do I use, how do I create content. And so I have always been doing these things. It's just been more on a like request type of vibe. So if people just asked me, then I would do it, but I never advertised it because I just had a lot going on. But things are finally smoothing out. Very excited to share that all my calendar's open again. So if you all know, I would say like maybe last year I was helping people with resumes. I was helping with mock interviews. So if you have an interview coming up, I will sit on the phone with you for an hour and interview you as if you're being interviewed so that you can practice a little bit. Resumes, of course, I help people with those. Now, what I do is I will sit with you on the phone and we will go line by line of different ways that you can reword your resume so that you can start showing up in applicant tracking systems. Yes, you can use ChatGPT. Yes, you can use AI, but I am a firm believer that no computer can speak to your accomplishments the way that you can, right? So do the work, fill it out on your own, and then maybe run it through AI if you want someone to triple check it. But I know we want to lean toward computers for certain things, but just I just never have gone wrong the old school way. I'm just going to say that. But anyway, I will do that. I've had a couple questions about how to start a podcast. Can you help me start my podcast? Yes, I can. And then also content creation. So, as you all know, I started the Genuine Creative where I was helping businesses with content. It kind of started going in a direction that I wasn't planning for it to go. Um, but I took some time to kind of revamp and figure out exactly what and how I want this business to go. And so this is not a social media management service by any means. It is, think of more of like user generated content. So if you're a business owner and maybe you own, I don't know, a bagel shop, like you would ask me to come and film content around your bagel shop for you to post on your social media pages. I have a client now who has a hair oil business. She sends me the oil. I create content around it. But I do not manage social media accounts. And so just throwing that out there, if you were a business owner or maybe you're a content creator and you need additional content for your page, then that is what my content creation services are for. Okay? So yeah, I'll put the link in the description box for you to be able to book with me. I'm looking forward to connecting with you all one-on-one. Finally, I just want to say a quick thank you for those of you joining the Genuine Life family after seeing me on my friend Corey Jones's YouTube channel. Y'all, the encouraging words, positive comments, and overwhelming support have kept me motivated to just keep going. And I cannot thank y'all enough, okay? So I just wanted to send a special shout out to those of you who found me through Corey Jones's YouTube channel. Thank you, and welcome to the Genuine Life family, okay? All right, let's get into today's episode because I'm going to tell y'all, can I be a little transparent with you, okay? This time has been very difficult for me. I have been through certain things before. This is not, the first time that I've run into, a tough time. But this time was a little different, okay? And I really, really wanted to be transparent with you that people that I expected to check in more or just simply ask me how I'm doing didn't. And I have been told before, well, you look like you're good. You look like you're fine. You look like. And how many times have we made that mistake of where we just look at someone, and I blame social media for this, but you look at someone and you're just like, oh, okay, she's doing well, without taking the time to truly ask. And I think I was a little shocked. But at the same time, there were people who did emerge that blew me away, that I was not expecting for them to show up for me in the way that they did. And now I know exactly what categories to put people in. And that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? This episode is not for those of you whose boundaries are perfectly put in place. This episode is not for people who have absolutely no problem speaking up and you have no problem communicating your needs in your relationships. I'm speaking specifically to people who have been challenged with standing up for themselves. And I want to first tell you that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? I personally believe that there is a mixture of empathy, you being an empath, and you just being considerate of other people's feelings. And while that is okay to a certain capacity, if you now notice as you get older, you're the one that's suffering, right? Your boundaries are a little wonky. Maybe, you compromise certain things for the sake of a relationship. All of these things. I'm speaking to you specifically. Okay, so if that is not you, you probably want to turn this off because you're going to be like, this girl is crazy. Not crazy, but I've been through it, and I think this is the time for us to talk about it. Okay? All right. So, I want to give just a few disclaimers, and I kind of touched on them here. But the first thing that you need to remember is that people usually only have the capacity to treat you the way they treat themselves. So if someone has demonstrated that they are self-centered, selfish, a very I kind of person, they are not suddenly going to become empathetic and overly considerate and kind because you are a nice person. It doesn't work that way. And boundaries are essential in situations like this. Again, I talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk about it more. And you may not like what I'm about to say, but I can guarantee that either your boundaries aren't specific enough or you're expecting you out of other people. And both are huge mistakes when trying to build and maintain relationships. How many times have you said, I could never do that? I would never treat anybody that way. And that's the problem. They're not you. And I think for the longest time, I kept trying to see another side to people. I'll never forget this particular situation. Man, I loved this person, and our friendship was just absolutely amazing. But I was so disappointed in what I saw, and I kept trying to like see something different in this person, and giving them chance after chance after chance, and I constantly kept seeing the same thing. I constantly kept feeling used, and just drained after being around them, to the point where I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm finished. But it was my boundaries that were wrong. That person continued to demonstrate who they were time and time and time again. But me being me kept saying, oh, well, maybe it'll change. It'll change. And it's not going to change. Okay? So my boundaries were wonky. Not them. They were consistent. I was not. And so that is where I say that to you. And I'm sorry if you guys hear these trucks or a snoring dog. It's like extra loud today. Hopefully it's not coming through the audio. If it is, I apologize. Okay, so those are two things I just want to, put out there that we're going to talk about today. Okay, so tip number 1, you got to recognize your worth and stand on business, friend. The first step is recognizing your own self-worth, how important and valuable you are to a relationship. Knowing who you are and the value you bring to your relationships is going to help you build confidence when people start to, people. You should never change who you are as a person. Instead, you must give and be present when you feel led to. That way, no matter what you do or what you wanted to do for someone, you can do it with no regrets. And listen, if you are there for somebody and you feel like you got burned or taken advantage of, or maybe they didn't appreciate what you did, that's okay too, because guess what? You still haven't lost, because now you know how to navigate them or categorize them. And now if you're also facing a similar situation, you'll know exactly how to handle it to protect yourself. And of course, different people are different, right? If you helped somebody move and they didn't honor their word to pay you, if someone else comes along and they ask you to help them move, I would tell you to fill out the situation, right? I wouldn't say, nope, I did this before and it did not happen. Now, if the patterns are the same, right? If this person is one-sided, if they only call you when they need something, then yeah, I would probably say no. But if you've built a friendship or a relationship with someone, it's reciprocated, and they ask you to do something that maybe you were burned, in a previous situation, I would say give it some thought. So the point of this whole conversation is really being in tune with our feelings and being more observant in our relationships, right? Of course, everybody is different. Of course, no two people are the same. But if patterns are the same, the people can be different. The result is most likely going to be the same. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now, another factor here is knowing who you are. If someone is treating you like gum on the bottom of their shoe, and you know you don't deserve that, you know you've gone above and beyond for them, you know that every time they call, you answer. If every time they need something, you're there. And yet, when you need something, it's crickets, or maybe they're just not treating you right. That's not okay. And see, the more confidence you build in yourself, the more you speak life into yourself, you're going to be like, I don't deserve this. And they certainly don't deserve me. And you can confidently remove yourself from that situation and again, prioritize your well-being and your mental. And how can you start recognizing your worth? Reflect on your accomplishments and your qualities. Start to journal it out. Really write down all of the things that you've done. What are the qualities that make you an amazing person? Practice self-talk. We talked about this on a few episodes, and that's affirmations. Get you some post-its right on the walls. You know, if you are somebody who can't stand, maybe you're finding yourself having anxiety around, I don't know, large groups. Maybe an affirmation can be, I always find the best small groups and people to be around. The right people are drawn to me. The people who make me feel confident and valuable are around me. Something, right? Speak directly to the situation. Set boundaries to protect your time and energy. If you know Cousin Lucy only calls when she needs something, keep it cordial and cute. But learn the word no. Nope, can't do it this time, Lucy. But here's some resources for you. My best friend always used to tell me, don't feel bad. They will figure it out. And the truth is, they will. They will. They'll figure it out. They will figure it out. Okay? Tip number 2, communicate your needs clearly. Healthy relationships require open and honest communication. Your needs should be communicated clearly and concisely without an LOL or an emoji attached to it. I used to do that. I would say something that was super, super important to me, but to lighten the mood, I would add a smiley face or an LOL, and that does not work. Okay? People are not going to take you seriously. If you're laughing about it, guess what? They're laughing as well. Stand on what you need. One thing I've always reminded myself is while I'm upset and not speaking my mind, people are out there living and doing exactly what they want to do and doing whatever is best for them. Why are you not doing the same? Okay? Why? And you know the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. If something bothers you, you absolutely need to voice that. And if you are not comfortable voicing how you feel out loud to the person, write it down. Write them a letter. They don't even ever have to read it. You write a letter and you let it all out and burn it. Let that be the last time you address it. And then I keep saying categorize them. And then you need to put that person in the category. And let's talk about that, because some people may not know what I'm talking about. Everybody is not going to be with you forever. You can have some friends that are going to be with you for certain parts of your life. The problem that all of us have run into is that we try to take someone that's supposed to be temporary and make them long-term. Or we try to take a long-term friend and through horrible actions or words, we make them short-term, right? And so if you know that you have a certain friend who is not serious about anything but loves to brunch and go out to party, that's not the person that you probably want to tell your 10-year plan to, right? Probably not the person that you want to talk to about that. Now, if you want to go to brunch and have a good time, then you'll call them up, okay? I probably would not try to spill all of my deep feelings out on somebody who cuts me off every time we're in the middle of a conversation. Believe it or not, at our grown age, there are people who actually do that. They just be in their own world talking. I mean, I've literally had that happen to me. Someone will ask me a question. I am in the middle of responding and they cut me off to talk about something completely different. Like they heard nothing that I said. Is this somebody that I really want to share my 10-year long life plan with? No. And so you have got to learn to accept people for exactly who they are showing you. One thing I'm always reminding myself is they know themselves better than I do. If they're telling me I'm so inconsistent, girl, I'm all over the place. It's like, okay, so why would I be trusting you to plan my, vacation? It's just not going to work. And I think that sometimes we just have got to pay attention to what people are showing us. Like we want, and it's okay to want to see the good in folks, but there are times where people are literally showing you that they are a walking red flag, and we still give in for the sake of giving people a chance. And I'm trying to tell you that as you get older, you don't need too many chances now to see who's who. Okay? Communicate those needs clearly. Use I statements to express your feelings. Be direct. I did not like when you, ABCD. I did not appreciate when you did not ABCD. And all of this, of course, is if you honor the friendship, right? Now, if you don't care, then move on with your life. But if this is a friendship that you honor, love, and respect, that you want to keep and continue to cultivate and grow, then you absolutely need to do these things. Okay? Be specific about what you need or what you want. Don't just say, I need you there. How do you need them there? I need you to, if you can, I would love to just connect with you once a month. Really enjoyed hanging out with you. It was great for me. I hope that you found it great too. Hey, I need you to stop canceling our lunch dates. It makes me feel like you don't care, that you're not fully present. And if you have something going on, then tell me. I need to know. I care. I want to help if I can. But this is what I need from you that I'm not getting. Okay? Communicate that. Be specific. Don't just say, oh, I need a red car. No, I need a red car with a sunroof, 4 doors, brand new wheels. I want tinted windows, and I want it to be an electric vehicle. Very specific. Okay? That's not what I want, but just threw that out there. Choose a calm and respectful tone. Don't go in acting crazy, because then it's really not going to be received. And this is something that I've actually done before. I write it down. I write down everything that I'm feeling, what I need, and I just have it written down. Don't be afraid to communicate that. And it's okay to talk in a calm, respectful tone. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to be angry, because the fact is you're just stating facts. And either it's going to be received or it's going to be rejected. But the point is, you get it out there. It's no longer on your conscience, and you allow that person to make a decision. If they can't show up for you once a month, that's their decision at that point. You've stated what you needed. They have a decision to either show up, or they're just removed or placed in a different category. But it helps you move on and understand exactly what people can give. Okay? Now, I've talked about this so many times, but I'm going to continue talking about it on this show because it's so important, and that is to practice self-care. Taking care of yourself is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. This is my tip number 3. Why is practicing self-care important to balancing relationships? Because I used to, I'm going to let you in on a little transparency here. I used to give in a particular friendship, and it certainly was not being reciprocated. I was the one constantly scheduling time, constantly doing the meetup, constantly wanting to hang out. And when I was so focused on trying to build this friendship, it was hard to see that it wasn't being reciprocated initially, but then I became hyper focused on the why. Why isn't this person treating me the same way that I'm treating them? Why is this person so mean? Why does this person have tons of energy with other people but super dry with me? You start to hyper focus on it, right? And then it led to me internalizing. Well, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm corny. Or maybe they don't like hanging out with me. Maybe they're only there to get resume help. Or maybe they're only there because they want a job at Google, right? So I started to internalize it, and resentment built up. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that the more in tune I am with myself, the more present and active I am in my own life, then the right people show up and the wrong ones disperse, right? The right people come around. They're just there. They make themselves known. They want to be actively present in your life. They want to get to know you. They want to hang out with you. And you start to understand who you want to be around and what friendships and relationships you want to cultivate. And you go from there. And so being more active and present in your own life, practicing self-care through activities such as exercising, going for a walk in nature, hobbies, meditation and mindfulness, joining a book club, run clubs are now a thing. Like really getting out there and spending time with yourself. You're going to start to surround yourself with people who have like interests as you do, And you're going to just find yourself around people who are actively wanting to be present in your life versus you feeling like you have to chase. Never chase. Never ever chase. Don't chase. Okay? So, finally, this one could be a tough one for people, but it's so essential, and that's reevaluating your relationships. Okay? It is very necessary to reevaluate your relationships. And I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about your social media ships, because I am very quick to unfollow accounts and have them unfollowing me. Whatever the case may be, right? Friendships, relationships, families, situationships. You have got to reevaluate them, because as you grow and change and go through life, as they grow and change and go through life, things are going to change, right? They may not be able to be there for you the way that they were 5 years ago. Friendships change, needs change, and it's not a negative thing. It's just that there's room for growth on both ends, or maybe you just outgrow one another. Certain things that were cool before are not cool anymore. Okay? And these are some questions to consider when you're reevaluating your relationships. Are these relationships fulfilling and supportive? Are you being treated with respect and kindness? Are you giving more than you're receiving? And how do you feel? This is my favorite one. How do you feel after being in this person's presence? Do you feel drained or uplifted? How do you feel? That's a big one. So if I feel drained, it ain't gonna work for me. Okay? So be honest with yourself and make decisions that prioritize your well-being. Okay? So we are what? What are we gonna do? We're gonna recognize our worth and stand on business. We're gonna communicate our needs very clearly and concisely. We're going to continue to practice self-care, spending more time with ourselves, surrounding ourselves with people who have like interests and who actively want to be present in our lives. And then fourth and finally, we're going to reevaluate our relationships. And make sure you're starting to implement these strategies if you aren't already in your own lives. And as always, seek support if needed. Remember, you deserve a healthy relationship, one that is reciprocated. Feelings are reciprocated. Actions are reciprocated. And by recognizing your worth, communicating your needs, practicing your self-care, and reevaluating your relationships, you are going to find a better balance and create better relationships and more of a fulfilling life. Okay? And I'm going to be right here with y'all. I am. I promise you. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. Super, super excited to be here with y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks again for your patience. There's a lot going on over here, but things are finally starting to smooth out, and I'm just so thrilled. I'm just so thrilled for what's ahead for all of us. But I'll be right back here next week, next Monday to be specific. And just so you all know, the episode is already done and queued up and loaded to go. So you will not be missing episodes any longer, which I'm very excited for. The key for me is consistency, right? If I can do that, I'm happy. Just got to keep going. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I hope it's productive. I hope it's such a blessing to you. I hope favor spills out upon you. And yeah, go out there and kill it. Go be who you are. Go be great. Go do the things that you love to do. I'll see you right back here next week for another episode. Stay calm. Don't let anyone disrupt your peace. And stay genuine, friends. Talk to you next week.